Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining today. We're just going to wait till just after 2 p.m. Or just after we're on the hour to begin the webinar, just to give everyone a chance to join.
Is IP commercialization important? What are the different routes to commercialization? And how can you utilize PAT-based to support commercialization efforts? Let's start with the basic foundation, understanding what IP commercialization is and why it's important. Intellectual property, like physical property, is an asset. It requires investment and upkeep in order to make a return on investment. Commercialization is the process using the asset that is already owned and making a return on it. A successful return on your IP may depend on your business needs. For some, a good return would be a new stream of revenue coming from utilizing or exchanging IP for money. For others, a good return can be a new partnership with a reputable organization or company, which could lead to a bigger scope for future research and collaboration. For universities, in addition to corporate entities, IP commercialization is a growing area of interest, as they are also increasingly reliant on income from IP developed by in-house researchers. According to Higher Education Survey data, annual growth in income from IP averaged 8.6% at universities over the period 2004-2003 to 2016-2015. This has grown almost twice as fast as collaborative research, contract research, and consultancy income, which averaged 4 to 5% annual growth over the same period. So what are the possible routes to commercialization? There are three main possible routes. IP owners can commercialize independently, through assignments or business partnerships. The IP owner can take up commercialization activities on their own. This may be the ideal choice for an IP owner when they have existing capabilities for marketing, so there's no need for a partnership. There aren't enough capabilities for building up or carrying out partnership, or they do not want to share information with third parties. The IP owner can also choose to commercialize by transferring ownership of IP through an assignment. The new assignee becomes the owner of the IP rights. This may be an ideal choice. For example, when the original owner of the IP doesn't have existing capabilities to market and sustain the production of the asset, when the owner is looking for an immediate cash return from their IP, or when the owner does not plan to exploit the IP with their own resources. Finally, the IP owner can choose to enter a business partnership and approach commercialization through licensing or entering a joint venture. Licensing is a common route to IP commercialization, is when the owner allows a third party to utilize the IP without the transfer of ownership. There are 3 different types of licensing deals. An exclusive license grants a single licensee the right to use the IP. A sole license grants a single licensee and the IP owner the rights to use the IP simultaneously. A non-exclusive license allows several licensees to have the right to use the IP. In academia, this is arguably the most common type of license. The alternative business partnership approach is to form a joint venture. This requires a partnership agreement between 2 parties to collaboratively work towards a common goal. This spreads risk and intellectual capital across both parties. For a licensing perspective, this can involve the process of cross-licensing, which is when 2 or more parties license each other's IP as part of a transaction. Each route to commercialization has its benefits and risks. PatBase, the global pattern search and analysis platform, can support your decision-making process. It is a powerful tool for finding answers to key questions before initiating often costly and time-consuming commercialization activities. There are several key questions that should be answered before you embark on a commercialization journey. Starting with, is your IP worth commercializing? A pattern landscape search is a really good place to start your commercialization efforts. If your idea requires many other parts to work commercially, there may be other pattern owners blocking your way to commercialization. However, these operational blocks may also be opportunities to license, sell, or collaborate. Landscaping can start with just a simple keyword search. There are various search forms and tools available in PatBase to support building your pattern search strategy. For example, you could use the PatBase thesaurus to find synonyms of your keywords, helping you cover the full scope of your invention, considering variations and even translations of key terms. For a full step-by-step guide of how to do a landscape search, I highly recommend watching one of our previous webinars that Microsoft ran last year, which outlines a tried and tested method for doing a landscape search and analysis in just 6 simple steps. Feel free to contact me by email after today's webinar if you'd like a copy of this landscape webinar recording. Another question to consider in your commercialization preparation stage is, who and where is your target market? Some considerations to think about are, who are the key assignees that you found by doing a landscape search? Are they tough competitors, or could they be potential partners? How long have they been active in this market? Do they have pockets of expertise around the world? Are there gaps in their coverage for you to exploit? PatBase Analytics v3 is the powerful integrated analytics platform within PatBase. Once you've conducted your landscape search, you can pull the entire dataset into analytics directly from PatBase and instantly start reviewing key trend data such as the top assignees, the timeline of activity, top jurisdictions, and much more. PatBase Analytics can analyze an unlimited number of pattern records in an instant. For example, on the screen now is a top assignees analysis chart generated in PatBase Analytics. This graph is customizable, so you can view and share this information in various forms in a bar, pie, or bubble chart if you prefer. Each data point can be clicked on to open the data locator, showing a list of the publications or families behind the graph. PatBase Analytics v3 is a fully transparent analytics platform that works seamlessly with PatBase to pull and isolate exact data of interest. This interactive feature works across PatBase Analytics, no matter the complexity of the analysis. You can select multi-layered analysis, like the example on the screen, which is showing an analysis of the jurisdictions by year, presenting the location and time dimensions of pattern coverage in one chart. All analysis in analytics can be saved, so you can easily pick up your research where you left off at any time. Once you've identified your target market, you can start developing your commercialization strategy. Do you already have the resources to venture out and market to this audience alone? Or do you need to develop licensing or assignment strategies? At this stage, you should have an effective way to describe your technology and can start getting feedback from the industry. While identifying your target market, it's also worth considering who is currently interested in this product. Look for key players, those with similar patterns or applications, market maturity, and various other ways. It can be very beneficial to consider the full value chain and companies involved with existing products similar to yours. Are there any vertically integrated players? This can be extremely valuable to identify because they will know about the technology at multiple levels. If you manage to sell or license to a vertically integrated player, they will be able to capture more of the profits, so they might be more interested to buy from you. When reviewing records in PatBase, users can quickly see the full assignee information up front. If there are multiple assignees listed on one record, this can help to quickly assess which assignees might be involved in a joint venture, possibly indicating their openness to another partnership. Further to this, legal status information can be opened for each record, showing the full legal status event history of the patent family so far, including any reassignments, which can indicate if the identified assignee is more likely to license in or license out IP in this field. This data should help you determine the level of interest of each potential commercialization candidate, helping you to prioritize who to approach first. Your marketing and negotiation strategy will depend on your target prioritization. While you're doing your market research, you should also keep an ear and eye out for future opportunities. What are the pain points of the key players you're talking to? This information can lead to an even bigger opportunity for future collaboration. Before you start mobilizing your newly developed commercialization strategy, you should aim to enter negotiations and discussions with an understanding of what your IP is worth. There are several methods for valuing IP that can be found online. One approach is the indicator-based approach. This method of valuing IP is similar to the way that a house is valued. For example, when selling a house, the owner may consider the size of the property, the number of bedrooms, location, and other factors to determine the final sale price. Patents can be evaluated in a similar way. The number of inventors, citations, publications, and market value of similar inventions can help patent owners calculate their assets value. The indicator method delivers a qualitative snapshot of a patent, providing an estimated value in the current market. Some key areas that could be considered here are the number of publications in global scope of protection. This indicates confidence and investment into the invention, increasing its estimated monetary worth. Publications are conveniently organized and listed in families on PatBase. A patent family groups all publications related to the same invention and comes together when publications share at least one priority number. This feature speeds up review by ensuring duplicate records do not appear within a results set. Within a family table, you can quickly see all the jurisdictions covered by the patent and when each application was filed. Other key indicators to consider are the number of inventors, the number of independent claims, and the remaining lifetime of the patent's validity. The number of inventors can be extracted in the Family Insights module within PatBase, which lists names in a clear, informative list. Each name can be clicked on to open more information about the inventor, which can help to identify experts in the field. The number of independent claims can be viewed in the patent full text window on PatBase using the Smart Claims feature. This handy menu allows you to expand and collapse an ordered claims list for any publication sectioned by independent claims. The Legal Information Browser delivers a visual way of displaying the lifetime of a patent's validity. By selecting the timeline view, the expected expiration dates can be toggled on, showing the predicted date that each publication in all jurisdictions is expected to expire. Here, the legal status events are also color-coded, so if a publication has lapsed, been rejected, or for some other reason is not currently valid, this information is detailed here. Also, the number of forward citations indicates a higher value patent, as it suggests other players are interested in this technology and the patent discloses useful ideas. Citations can be viewed within PatBase in an intuitive module called the Citation Explorer. Citation Explorer presents backward and forward citation information in an interactive tree. Clicking on any of the branches expands any backward or forward citations and additional details about each citation publication. This process can help identify more competitors in the same field. These are just some of the examples of the features available in PatBase that can support your commercialization research and strategy. There are many additional tools on PatBase that can drive your commercialization strategy to success. To register for a PatBase demo and a commitment-free 2-week free trial, please send me an email at the address on the screen. We've covered a lot of information relating to IP commercialization today. To wrap up, some key points to take away are: IP is an asset that requires investment of time and effort to gain a return from. There are several routes to IP commercialization, including independent marketing, by assignment, and through business partnerships, whether that is by licensing or entering a joint venture. Whichever route is chosen, some key information is vital to know before embarking on a commercialization journey. Some of the key questions to answer are: is your IP worth considering commercialization? This can be answered with a landscape search on a patent database such as PatBase. Who and where is your target market? This can help you realize which route to commercialization to take. Who is currently interested in this product? Knowing this will help you prioritize potential buyers or partners. And finally, how much is your IP worth? Having some idea of your IP's worth will protect you from undervaluing your asset in commercialization discussions. That brings us to the end of this presentation section. Now I'll open up for the Q&As.
Thanks very much, Ben. That was really interesting. So I'm just going to give everyone a minute to pop in their questions. As I mentioned, just pop them in the chat box. Okay. Oh, Ben, we've got the first one coming in now. How could PatBase help to clean an assignee list, i.e. name variations, affiliated companies, merge and acquisition?
This is a good question, this one. So data's updated every day in PatBase, and assignee names are cleaned and corrected using Microsoft's proprietary algorithm. This was something that we developed in-house. We have a technical team, very capable technical team who developed this. So yeah, hopefully that answers that one.
Cool. Another one around kind of assignees here. So how would you clean assignees / applicant? Oh, sorry. How do you clean? So as in Microsoft, clean assignees / applicants, especially Asian names.
Oh, okay. So we receive assignee and applicant names in the original form. They're standardized by the global patent offices. So there's a long list of non-Latin assignee names that are translated manually by our data team. So we work in partnership with RWS, and all assignee names can be searched in their original language too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't have the exact figure to hand, but I believe it was around 40,000 Chinese assignee names. Manually.
I think it's about 50,000 now, Caitlin.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. So yeah, around 50,000 Chinese assignee names that we've manually translated. Okay, and what would be the strategy to update previous landscapes? Should all steps be performed again?
Yeah, this is a really good question, and it's something that we get quite a lot. We know that a lot of our customers will do a search and maybe 6 months run the same search. So there's really easy answer to this. You can save your search history in PatBase, and you can access it at any point on your ID. So it only takes a few minutes to load a save search back onto your search history page. And the search history as well, it can be edited and updated, so you can refine your landscape search as you go, because requirements sometimes change with your work.
I guess just to add to that as well, you could set up a PatBase alert on the query. So rather than having to run the search again from the beginning, you could get that information directly to your inbox.
That is a very good point, actually, Kaylin. The alerts feature, you know, that's another very valid option, and you can get weekly or monthly alerts set up to specified email addresses. So yes, that could be another way.
Okay, great. Just to say, everyone, thanks so much. We're getting quite a few questions in, which is brilliant. Really glad to see some engagement here. How would you recommend sharing charts and graphs and including them with your written report?
Yes, so charts and graphs, as well as most of the things in PAP-based, can be really easily exported. And you can export your analytics using the chart settings option. So all you need to do basically is you need to click on the last tab to export like an image file, or you can click to download using, you know, on the right hand side of each chart there's a little download icon. So you just click that, it'll give you various options to download. So there's multiple ways that you can do it.
Yeah, there's also if you do want to take, say, a screenshot of a graph, which I know that's what I normally do just for ease, you can now remove that download icon, just so that when you're then pasting it into a Word document or PowerPoint or whatever you're using, it's going to look a bit neater. So that option is available in the chart settings. Okay, and is there any capability for grouping different tech areas and for comparison between them?
Yes, there is. So you can group key concepts in analytics in the landscape chart, or you can do it by technology area, so classification codes using the grouping app. So you can run a comparison analysis between up to 4 search sets in analytics. It's something we're really impressed with. We had a very big update to Microsoft in September last year, and being able to compare those 4 different search sets side by side and run them simultaneously is very powerful, and we're getting some really good feedback from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's so fast and can just handle huge result sets, which is just brilliant. Okay, and is there a way to search the transactions behind the data before it's granted? For example, public pair.
Yes, so public pair can be tracked with Microsoft's Pair Alert. So contact me after this session if you'd like a free trial of this service, because we can set that up for you. I think sometimes when you see it on a trial, that's probably the best way to demonstrate the capabilities of it.
Yeah, Ben's email is just on this slide as well, if you do want to hear more about that. And just add as well, the Pair Alert's also available in Pat Docs.
They are, yes.
And that has a bunch of other really cool features, like autocomplete IDS forms, exportable legal reports, and the family tree, which is also available on the Pair Alerts. And that's something we get a lot of really great feedback for.
The family tree is fantastic, isn't it? And you can make annotations as well, can't you?
Yeah, I was just speaking to the software developer behind it the other week, and he was explaining this new feature where essentially you can share the link with someone else. They don't have to be a Pat Docs user, and they can add notes to the family tree, and that's live. So if you have it open as well, you can see the notes they're adding. So I think that's really cool, very collaborative, which is so important at the moment.
I think so at the moment with, you know, people working remotely, a lot of people aren't in the office together. Hopefully that will change quite soon, but being able to collaborate is a vital part of most people's lives when they're working with patents.
Just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and it's a secure platform to be able to do it as well.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a final question, as we've answered quite a few, and we are coming to the end of our time. But if we haven't got back to you, we will just reply to you by email after the webinar. And if you do have any more questions, again, you can contact Ben at browan@microsoft.com, that email address there on the screen. Okay, so the final question is, where does an FTO search fit into a commercialization strategy?
I was hoping we'd finish on a good question.
There's a lot you could say here, I think.
There's a lot. This is quite a complicated question, but I'll try and make it as succinct as possible. So freedom to operate searches are usually conducted, you know, after you've done the initial pattern landscaping, and when there's a product essentially that's ready for the market already. So as I say, this comes after the landscape search. It's usually an exploration of potential commercialization barriers. For example, if your product infringes on existing patents. So we're currently planning an FTO-related webinar in a few months with a guest speaker. I believe it's going to be a patent specialist, Caitlin, isn't it, from the US?
I mean, it's really exciting. So we've got Al Etheridge, who some people might be familiar with already. I was just speaking to him last week, and I think it's going to be a really great webinar. So we're going to be splitting it into a few different sessions. And the first session is going to be almost like a pre-patentability search. And he just has a really interesting way of thinking and some really cool uses for PAT-based, especially the custom user fields functionality. So I definitely recommend that if you're just looking for a bit of inspiration for new ways to use PAT-based if you're currently a user, or just to find out a bit more about what's available on the platform if you're not. So yeah, that will be probably around mid-April, but we will share more information closer to the time.
Quite soon then. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right, well, I think that's everything then. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining us today.
That's all right, my pleasure. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it. And as Caitlin said, please send me an email to browan@mindsoft.com with any questions from the webinar, or if anyone would like a trial of PAT-based.
Yeah, okay, great. Thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.